The real estate industry awaits in limbo as the Competition Bureau attempts to take action against CREA's multiple listing service system. Today, Mary Caird shares her thoughts on the subject, but first, a brief excerpt from her blog that can be found on myottawarealestate.com. Giving access to our MLS is a travesty of grave proportion that will only serve to prove how a lawyer's role is grossly being overstated. Would you go to a mechanic for open heart surgery? I think not. Conversely, why would you tell your dentist that you didn't intend to compensate him fairly for your root canal and you'd rather skip the freezing needle, which we all know is a necessary evil? Full-time realtors are professionals who deserve a great deal of respect for their dedication and commitment to excellence.
Good afternoon, Ottawa. I'm Crystal Cochran, reporting on behalf of the team at myottawarealestate.com. I'm here today with Mary Caird from Keller & Williams Real Estate. We're going to be discussing two major real estate headlines in the news recently. The first being the new mortgage rules laid out by Finance Minister Jim Flaherty that are scheduled to come into effect April 19th of this year. We'll also be discussing the Competition Bureau's allegations that CREA's multiple listing service system fosters anti-competitive behavior in the real estate market and their initiative to loosen CREA's control over the MLS system. So Mary's here to provide some insight on these topics and to let us know how these developments may or may not affect Ottawa's real estate market. Mary, how long have you been in the real estate industry?
Yes, Crystal, about 25 years, and in fact I've seen a number of real estate markets, very interesting changes that have come and gone and how they've impacted. So there's a lot to take into account, not just where we're coming from, but where we're going. And in fact, I'm finding that most of the changes, we'll go over each one of them step by step and explain them, they are very positive. From a homeowner's perspective, like myself, a realtor, and also from a policymaker's perspective, what I think they're trying to do here is to fortify our local real estate market as it would impact our viewers here in Ottawa. From any increase that they are anticipating in the next 6 months to 3 years as the increase in the interest rates impacts the average consumer and homeowner, where their costs to service those debts are increasing from what I've seen from 6 to 9% is what they're projecting. So that's overall debt. And they're trying to make sure that people that own houses currently, because there has been some speculation, some investing, and people that aren't as savvy as maybe a traditional seasoned investor that are jumping in, and all of the liberal types of policy that have been in place have allowed that. So they're trying to ensure that people who currently own homes will continue to be able to afford them on into the future as the rates rise.
So you're drawing on a lot of experience here. Well, let's start with the new mortgage rules, but more specifically the new qualifying standards that borrowers must be able to handle a 5-year fixed rate mortgage, even if they opt for a shorter term and lower rates. So how do you feel that that will affect the market?
I understand that it was a 3-year qualifier previously, and when I first got an email from a mortgage broker, they were saying that overall they didn't anticipate a lot of impact with this because they were, as an institution, already using the 5-year qualifier. So you can see where there is some wisdom to that. If a lot of people are on variable rates right now at anywhere from 1% below prime to 2.5% right now on variables, that when they go to lock in anytime as the rates rise to typically 3 and 5 year rates, they want to make sure they're able to afford it and be able to do that. So again, that's a very positive change to just make sure that people that are getting into the market at this point are able to afford their homes on into the future.
So this is to protect homeowners and new buyers coming into the market.
What we don't want to see as a real estate industry and a community is people that are really tight on their payments and rates go up, they have no equity in their homes and they give back their keys. I have seen that in other markets that I have worked, and in other time frames where there's been significant rise in interest rates. So that would be devastating to the equity of the average person's home, and they don't want to see that.
What about the changes to refinancing? Refinancing your home has been brought down to 90% as opposed to the 95% it originally was.
I just think that's smart. As a homeowner, you know, if you're already in with CMHC insurance, that's something that you don't want to be refinancing and taking too much equity out of your home. You want to have enough, like I said, equity in there to give you that incentive to pay on the higher interest rate and still have a place to live.
Oh, well, that's smart then. See, positive changes. And for the final change was the minimum of a down payment of 20% on required by government-backed insurance properties, and that's up from 5%. So how will this impact?
I think there'll be a few less speculators for sure getting into the real estate market for investment purposes. And in fact, I mean, when I do the math and going with a mortgage that has CMHC insurance, that's the best and fastest way to make money, is to avoid that fee in the first place. So that's just making sure that people who are not owner-occupied, who are just strictly doing investment, again, don't walk away from those properties when the servicing gets a little bit more expensive.
Now, I understand that these changes are going to come into effect as of April, and actually I have a quote here from TD Securities Chief of Economics, who says that some extreme volatility in the housing market for short-term home buyers will happen because they'll try and beat that April 19th date. Do you think that that reflects?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are, even in the last couple of weeks, what I've noticed, a significant upswing in the amount of phone calls, activity, offers, and what would be investors that have been sitting on the sidelines that are incredibly motivated right now on a number of accounts for a number of reasons, with the stability that we have had in our market, and with obviously the confidence that they believe the local market will continue to increase and provide them with a long-term positive investment towards their retirement. So that has been that it has been and will continue to be a very positive thing.
So that's good. So the real estate industry shouldn't be too concerned about these mortgage rule change, and instead try and see the positive sides, because there sounds like there are quite a few.
That's right.
That's